What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Unexpected Season 3, Episode 5, The Move from Hell. So let's get right into Lily and Lawrence. It's moving day and it is a complete circus at their house. So, they have the wrong truck, the truck that they wanted, they couldn't get, which was the bigger truck. So they have to settle with a smaller truck, which means that they're going to have to make more trips than they anticipated. Because Lawrence was confused about the actual date that they were supposed to be loading up the truck, he wasn't able to get all his friends together to come and help out. So only one friend arrives. So it's complete chaos. Now, Lily in her confessional, because she's getting a taste of adulthood, of finally becoming, a little bit more independent, she says in her confessional, with both of her parents sitting next to her, that she really appreciates all that her mom has done for her. And I was just wondering why, Lily, you didn't mention your dad. Just curious. So, the mother says that chaos is expected. Chaos is normal on any moving day, but she was really worried on how Lily and Lawrence were communicating with each other because their communication skills is absolute garbage. So the mother is worried that this might be a sign of what's to come when they're completely alone in their own home. And I guess she worries about, how they're going to be able to communicate with each other without killing each other. So in the confessional, Lily and Lawrence are arguing about buying an extra bed for Aaliyah to place in their bedroom. So Lily wants another bed, like an actual bed, to put in their bedroom for Aaliyah to sleep with them so that she can slowly become a little bit more accustomed or more acclimated to the new home. Lily says that because she's going to be in a brand new environment, Aaliyah's not going to be able to sleep by herself in her own room. And if Aaliyah isn't sleeping, that means Lily isn't sleeping. So she wants her to sleep in their room. Lawrence is like, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. Lawrence doesn't want Aaliyah to sleep with them, period. But if she really, really has to, he wants her to have a blow up bed instead of like a real bed in their bedroom because he's like, there's not going to be enough room because we have our bed, we have the crib, and then to add another bed, he's like, no, that's just not going to be enough room. So they're arguing about this in the confessional. And as they're arguing about it, Lily says, well, you see how you talk to me, because Lawrence was really frustrated. He was expressing his thoughts about, he doesn't want to have he doesn't want to have to spend the extra money for a real bed. And he says to her, this is what I'm talking about, when I say that you like to waste money, that you want to waste money, because we don't need to buy her an extra bed when she can have the blow up bed. So Lily says, well, you see how you're talking to me? And then Lawrence says, well, but why did I have to talk to you like that? Now, that did not sit right with me at all. I'm like, what do you mean by that, Lawrence? Why did you have to talk to her like that? That was very like patronizing the way he said that. Kind of like, he's implying that, he has to talk to her a certain way to get her to be quiet, or he has to talk a certain way to kind of put her in her place. He has to use a certain tone in his voice to kind of discipline her. And I really didn't appreciate that. So Lily tells her mom that Lawrence wants a blow up bed for Aaliyah instead of buying an actual bed. And the mom is like, oh no, we're not going to be doing that. She needs to have a real bed because a blow up bed is going to be bad for her back and her spine. And so she needs to have a real bed. Plus, the blow up bed belongs to Lily's mom, and she's going to keep her blow up bed at her house. So I'm just like, what? And so then the mother says, well, maybe you just shouldn't go. As in, you and Lawrence shouldn't move out and just stay here. Mom, no. Let your daughter go. Your daughter's already acting grown with the two kids that she has. Stop. Let your daughter go. Let her figure it out on her own, as we all had to figure it out on our own. Whether we were married or moving in with someone or living by ourselves, we all had to figure it out on our own. And yes, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to do things that you regret doing, but it's just part of the whole learning process of being an adult. So don't try to hold your daughter back because Lawrence doesn't want the little girl he doesn't want to have to spend money on an extra unnecessary bed when the girl has her own bed in her own room. So I thought that was the mom being very manipulative and trying to keep her daughter. And I know that she would rather keep her daughter and her grandkids and then let Lawrence go. So The mom is like, I hope this really isn't a sign of what's to come. And, you know, um, she was doing I thought the mom was doing a lot. I thought she was doing a whole lot. Yes, Lily and Lawrence argue, and yes, Lawrence has a temper that he needs to really control and get a hold of. And I think the only way that Lawrence can really handle that temper of his is he needs to get into anger management or counseling or something, because when those emotions take over him, he doesn't know how to reel them back in. It's like he just lets it go, and he feels like he's justified in talking the way that he talks because he's been getting away with it for so long. So his tone, the raising of his voice, the frustration, he needs to really learn how to talk in a much more calmer tone, not just for the person he's talking to, but even for himself. I mean, he's going to get so worked up, as he gets older. He might, like, stroke out or something with that kind of frustration that he builds up inside of himself. So he needs to, like, find a way. He needs to learn skills. He needs to develop tools that when he gets to that point, he needs to know how to reel it back in. You can still say exactly what you need to say, and you can still make your point without having to completely blow up and, have a freaking aneurysm because you're so angry. So Lily is feeling a lot of anxiety about the whole move, I guess, and maybe being on their own. So Lily and Lawrence, they go outside to talk, and the camera doesn't follow them, but they're still mic'd. So we hear their whole entire conversation. So she tries to reassure him, and I guess this whole issue of the child sleeping in their room is he thinks that they're not going to have the freedom for, adult time. But I don't think that was even his issue. I think his issue was the fact that he was worried that once you put her back in her room, she's not going to want to leave. She's going to want to always sleep in that room, whether it's on her own bed, their bed, a blow up bed. She's not going to want to leave the room. I think that's what was his issue. And he also talked about how the room is going to be really overcrowded. He kept on mentioning, we're going to have to learn how to, we don't want to teach her bad habits, or we're going to have to learn how to break bad habits. And I think he was referring to that the child will get comfortable sleeping in the same room with them, and they'll never get her out. So Lily tries to reassure him that, hey, just because she's going to be sleeping in the room with us, we can still do what we need to do because we're going to have the whole house to ourselves. It's not like living with her parents when they are delegated just to their own room, to take care of business. But in their own house, they're going to have the whole house, and they can go wherever they want, do whatever they want, let the children sleep in their room, and they'll have the rest of the house to turn the rest of the house into their own, adult playground. So he heard her, he understood her, but I really don't think that was his issue. I don't think it was. I think his issue was that once he put her in there, she's not going to want to leave. So she just keeps on stressing, how she really needs to make sure that Aaliyah is comfortable in the new home so that she herself can also rest. She's still taking care of a baby, and she needs to have the energy for that. And she can't be up all night trying to comfort Aaliyah. But I think what she should do is, why don't you put Aaliyah in her own room, and then mom can sleep with, Lily can sleep with her in her room, either on the floor or in the bed with her until she falls asleep, and then go back into her own room. And then if Aaliyah wakes up in the middle of the night or something, go back into Aaliyah's room and help her get back to sleep instead of bringing her into your room. Because I think that it's going to be hard to put her back in her own room if she's going to start off sleeping in the parents' room. That's just my thoughts. Moving on to Emerson and Mason. So Emerson and Mason, Emerson went to her doctor's appointment for the first time completely by herself, and her mother was asking her how it went. And Emerson tells her mom that the doctor had suggested that because she's already at 40 weeks, she should be induced. And the mom didn't like that. Her mom was like, well, I don't understand why they would suggest induction instead of you just having the baby naturally. And Emerson was like, I don't know. That's what she said, and that's fine with me. And so Emerson says that, her mother wants her to be more independent, but that when she is trying to be independent, her mom doesn't like the decisions that she makes. So Emerson asks her mom if Mason can sleep with her in her room after the baby's born, and her mom once again tells her, I already told you, Emerson, that's not going to happen. So I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the mother's argument about not allowing Emerson and Mason to sleep in the same room, I guess, after the baby was born, is because she didn't want this to influence her younger children and make her other children think it's okay for, to have your boyfriend come over and sleep in your room with you. But I think her children, her younger children, they're smart enough to know, especially if you sit down and just talk to them, that, this is a different situation because Emerson and Mason have a baby together. And it would just be easier and also help with the bonding process between the father and the child and the mom too, if they were to sleep in if they can have that room to themselves after their baby is born, and then Mason would be such a big help for Emerson to be able to get up and deal with the baby. While she's resting. So I think your kids would understand that. It's not, I mean, I don't understand why the mom is like so opposed to them sleeping in the same room. And not even so much because, the deed has already been done. Like, okay, she's already pregnant. She's not, like maybe she's worried she's going to get pregnant again. I don't know. But it's just stupid to me that the mom won't let them sleep in the same room for them to take care of their child together. That's stupid. I think Emerson's mom is a bit strange, and I think Mason's mom is also kind of strange. So moving on from that, we move on to Taylor, Tiara, and Tyra. So Taylor and Tiara, they are planning to go to the park with their kids, and Tyra was also supposed to join them, but she's MIA. They can't find her. She's not answering her phone. So they assume that because Alex is back in town, that she must be spending her time with Alex. And Tiara and Taylor absolutely do not see it for the reconciliation of Tyra and Alex. So we see Alex and Tyra together. They meet up at a restaurant, and they're basically having a conversation about their relationship and the girl in Texas and where do we go from here. So Tyra asks Alex, why did he go to Texas? And he said, well, he kind of went just on impulse. Tyra says that she finds it hard to believe that you would make such a trip just on impulse. You had to have a very specific purpose of going to Texas. So they act really nervous, really awkward around each other. They kind of act like this was like a first date or something. And I didn't understand why they were so awkward with each other. I mean, they have a kid together. They were together for so many years. Why are y'all acting like y'all really don't know each other? And so Tyra says in her confessional that while he was gone to Texas, they told their daughter Layla that daddy was just playing basketball or something. And so she had a video on her phone, and she shows it during her confessional, and the video is Layla crying for her daddy because she misses her daddy. Tara explains to us that Layla and Alex are very, very close. Whenever Alex is there, Layla just wants him to hold her, and she'll sit on his lap for the longest time, and that she's very, very attached to her dad. So she said that Tara tells us that she sent that picture of Layla crying to Alex while he was in Texas. And I thought to myself, how manipulative are you? Because you're trying to get this man back. You want him to come back to you, and you're going to use your daughter to make that happen, which to me, I don't think that's right at all. I just didn't like that. That did not sit right with me. Let this man do whatever he wants to do. And if y'all are meant to be, then y'all are meant to be. The whole thing of trying to convince someone to come back to you, I don't like that, because everybody here is grown. Everybody here is an adult. They make whatever decisions they want to make. You trying to manipulate Alex into coming back to you, it's just... I just didn't like it. I don't know what else to say. I just didn't like it. I didn't like how she had to use her daughter to try to lure this man back. Whether it worked or not, I don't know, but Alex is back in Texas. So, I mean, back in Kentucky. So, Tyra says, well, where does your relationship lie with the other girl? And he says, absolutely nowhere. He says that he feels stupid and he feels dumb. And then Tyra says something like, well, I don't know why you just couldn't have her take a test. Like, just have her pee on a stick to let you know. I don't know what they were dancing around. It seemed like the girl either didn't know whether or not she was at. The bottom line is he went to Texas. I guess he found out the girl was not pregnant. So then he came back to Kentucky. I think that's how it went. I don't know. They didn't actually say what went down in Texas. So for him to say that he felt stupid makes me think that he rushed over there thinking that she was pregnant. And he felt stupid probably because he didn't do what he needed to do to verify and confirm that she was pregnant. And maybe that's why Tyra said, well, why didn't she just take a pregnancy test? So it seemed like he went down there, the girl wasn't pregnant, and then he came back to Kentucky. So he says that he wants to be back with Tyra. He says, I want to be back with you. And so she tells him, well, if you're going to come back to me, you're going to have to make sure that you do A, B, C, D, and X, Y, and Z. He's like, I know what I have to do. So it seems like Tyra and Alex are back together again. Now, I thought that Tyra and Alex were okay together. I think it all broke down when she decided to go away to school. And, he probably felt kind of abandoned. She really wasn't trying to put any effort into their relationship. I didn't think she was putting much effort into being a mom either. So he was like, okay, well, this is over and done with. And he moved on with his life. That's what I think. I didn't think they had, I didn't mind Tyra and Alex being together before she went away to school, but here we are again. So then now we see the confessional with Tyra and her sister Tiara, and Tiara is trying to put the guilt trip on Tyra for not showing up at the park. Tiara says that after all that's happened, you can't expect Alex just to become the man of your dreams or the man that you want him to be overnight. It's just not going to happen like that. And so then Tyra gets upset that, her sister's talking crap about her relationship with Alex. She doesn't like it. So she gets up and she walks off. So while she walks off, it seemed like Tiara was having some type of she wasn't feeling well. And so she texts her doctor. She calls her mom. Her mom says, okay, I'm on my way there. And she's not feeling good. And it's got something to do with her very low iron. So then when Tyra comes back, she's like, what's wrong with her? And her sister says, I'm not feeling good. And so then Tyra says, well, what the F do you want me to do about it? And I was like, damn, girl, Tyra can be cold. I've seen her in her moments where it seems like she just has no emotion, no sympathy or anything. And I hate to say this, but I've kind of seen it with her and her kid. I don't know why I keep saying this, and I hope that I'm wrong, but I just don't really see. Whenever she's with her daughter, it doesn't even look like their mother and daughter. She treats her daughter like the interactions between her and Layla is like an aunt and a niece kind of thing. Like they're just relatives, but not mom and child. That's how it seems like to me. I don't know why I feel that way, but that's how I feel. And when she and Alex were, having their issues, you can just see how easy Tyra can just turn things off, like how she can just turn off her emotions. And then here with her sister's not feeling well, extremely pregnant. And then Tyra says, what the F do you want me to do about it? And I was just like, girl, you are cold. Moving on to Kylan and Jason. So Kylan and Jason are going to go fishing with their friends, and they have to take the doll with them, baby Keegan. And Jason, he's so over that damn doll. I'm surprised that he hasn't soccer kicked it across the field. I'm shocked that he hasn't done that yet because he is over that doll. Jason says that baby Keegan is more for the woman to learn how to take care of her baby than for a man. I'm not even going to get into that. And then Colin says in her confessional, she says that when we have the baby, I feel like I'm going to be the one doing everything because he really hasn't helped with this doll. And, Jason is like, look, just because I'm not bonding with this piece of plastic doesn't mean I'm going to be the same way with my own child. This is just a doll. I'm not going to play with this doll. I'm over it. So then they start fighting in their confessional. They start arguing about that when no, they said they started fighting more when Kylan was about 6 months pregnant because Jason says that they have different opinions on how to raise that they were raised differently, and so because of that, they have very different opinions on how to raise their child, and that's like a big, area of contention between the two of them. So now we go to Kaylin's parents' house. And every time that we see Kaylin's parents, it's so heartbreaking for me to watch. It breaks my heart to see her parents. Let's see. Okay. So her father says that the doctors have given him about 2 years to live because his kidney disease is at stage 3, almost stage 4. So he doesn't have much time, according to his doctors. But, miracles do happen. And the doctors can very much well be wrong. So Kylan says, I don't know why I keep on calling her Kaylin. Kylan says, I'm sorry, not Kylan, me, what I said in my notes was that Kylan is going to really regret not spending this time with her parents. If her father's time is limited like to 2 years, which is absolutely nothing, she's going to regret this if anything happens to her dad. That she would rather spend her time in this abusive relationship than be surrounded by, support and love, by her from her parents. And she's going to really regret missing out on, her dad's last few years if in fact that's all he has left. So why doesn't Colin want to be okay? So, and then also I think she's an only child. And so it's not like her parents have other children to kind of like, distract them and keep their minds off of Kylan. I think this is their only child. So all they can do is think about Kylan and talk about Kylan all the time. The mom says that, Colin was always by her side before she got pregnant. It was like her little mini me. Colin was attached to her mother. And so it's really hard for her mom to all of a sudden not have her daughter there. And the parents say that it's been about 2 weeks or more since they even talked to Kylan. So, Kylan, it's one thing that you don't want to go see your parents, but girl, you can pick up the phone or at least answer the phone when they call you. This is just so sad how she's allowed her boyfriend to completely brainwash her to the point where she doesn't even, the relationship between her and her parents is like in crisis. And the sad thing is that Jason's not going to be around forever. I'll be surprised if he makes it to that baby's first birthday. As in, if their relationship will even last that long once the child is there. I'm just like, Kylan, you need to really rethink things. And I'm surprised that Jason's parents are not even trying to talk to her or try to facilitate the relationship between Colin and her parents. Like they're just I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there at Jason's house. So it probably feels like that she can't talk to her parents because Jason's around. So and then they also share a phone. The parents tell us that she shares a phone with Jason. And so probably when they do try to call her, Jason's, playing interference and not answering because he doesn't want her to talk to her parents. Kylan says, in Kylan's confessional, the producers ask her, how do you think your parents feel about you living with Jason? And Kylan has the audacity to form her lips to say, oh, I think they're okay with that. They may be a little sad. And she says, but I'm starting my own family. And she's like, you know what? Yeah, I feel kind of bad. And then Jason berates her for saying that she felt bad. He says to her, well, why would you feel bad? You should be happy. It should make you happy that that you moved out of your parents' house. And your parents should be proud of you that you're not there anymore. But okay, you do you. That's what he said. That's awful. That is absolutely awful. If she moved out of her parents' house because she wanted to be with the father of her child and start her own family, and I was like, okay, but you going from one set of parents to another set of parents, it's not like you moved out to be independent. You just became another person's dependent. So it's one thing for you to move out of your parents' house to go be with your boyfriend or whatever, but you don't have to cut off all ties. You should still talk to them. You should still visit them. You should visit them on your own without your crazy chauvinistic boyfriend around. You should still have a relationship with your parents, even though you're not living with them. But it's like everything was almost damn near cut off. So the parents, yeah. So I can't believe he says, like, when he said to her, "Oh yeah, but okay, you do you," like he's talking to one of his homeboys or something. So the mom says in her confessional that Jason is basically imprisoning her daughter, and she feels very left out of her daughter's pregnancy journey, and as close as Kylan was to her mom, that it's absolutely killing her mom that she can't be there with Kylan, to share this journey with her of her child having a child, to give her advice, to be there to comfort her, to be there to help her. It's just crazy. I feel so bad for Kylan's parents. I feel so bad. And Kylan is doing this over Jason, who's like a jerk. He's like a real jerk. He's an absolute jerk. And so she's destroying her relationship with her parents, killing her parents for a jerk, for someone who probably doesn't even really care for her, and who's probably going to end up leaving her as soon as that baby's born, because he's not going to be able to take the responsibility of being a father. And when she has that baby, when Kylan gives birth to her child, and she's going to have those motherly instincts kick in, where she's probably going to want to do things a certain way for her baby. And Jason's probably going to be like, no, don't give them the pacifier. No, let them cry it out in their crib. When she probably wants to be there to comfort her child, that's when I think their relationship is really going to suffer. And he's probably, I don't know. But I know one thing, I just don't see this relationship lasting after that child is born, because I don't see Jason having the patience to take care of Kylan, to take care of the baby, to be that responsible. I just don't see it. So her father says in his confessional that Jason stole my baby and brainwashed her. Yes, correct. 100% correct, Dad. And the way that Kylan is treating her parents, what she's doing to her parents, it's not helping them. It's not helping her father. It's not doing anything for his health. It's just stressing him out even more. And stress can have a negative effect on your health, just like, anything else. And your father is sick. Your mother is brokenhearted. And you're just, fool-lolling over there with this idiot, this Neanderthal. You're choosing him over the people that raised you and loved you, and you love your parents. And like, Kylan, why can't you step back and look at this from the outside and like truly examine what's going on? That you are breaking your parents' heart for this jerk who makes you feel bad all the time. But I want to tell her parents, don't worry. Colin's going to come back. Colin will definitely be coming back to, because where else she's going to go when Jason finds him, a new little plaything who has no children, who has no responsibilities, who just wants to go out and have a good time and not, whine about being pregnant and taking care of a baby and diapers and breastfeeding and bottles and all of that. Trust me, Mom and Dad, Colin is going to be back to y'all sooner than you think. That is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Please don't forget to rate the video on your way out, and please also do not forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.